Hello ladies, how you doing? Hope you're well. Hope you've had a fabulous week. It is Friday, of course. So I hope you're rounding out that week with a great feeling of achievement, that you've moved the needle a little this week. I'd love to hear what your successes are. Jump over to the comments in this video and do let me know, what are you celebrating this week? So I wanted to round out the week myself by coming in here and providing you with some real value. And I wanted to share with you, how many have I got? Seven tips that you can take away and, just listen through to them this weekend. And then it's something you can actually go away and implement each day next week to really create some needle movement in your business. And so I'm going to share with you 7 tips to help you generate new leads using Instagram stories. I am loving Instagram stories at the moment. As many of you know, I've moved off Facebook. I can't be dealing with it anymore. And so I'm all over Instagram and just wanted to share some tips that I've been using in my business with great effect and that you can go away and use too. So the first key, of course, is to provide value. Stories are only as good as the content you create. And perhaps in another video, we will look at the types of content you can create. But just for today, I want you to be thinking about value, providing value, because the key is you're trying to draw people to your Instagram stories where they can find out more about you, get to know your personality, find out more about your business and brand, what you do, how you help people, the type of problems you solve, and ultimately that's going to break down buying skepticism. So when you can provide value in your Instagram stories, it really does build that know, like, of trust and trust factor quite quickly. It really breaks down buying skepticism and helps people understand the value of the work that you do. And also, it's great to be in a position where you can help people even before you have asked for any money, even before any cash has changed hands, shall we say. And so I think this is a great foundation for a good working relationship. So get your notepads out and I'm going to share these tips with you. So the first tip I would say is to encourage people to get on your email list. This is something I'm doing myself. Many of you will remember, who've followed me for a while, will remember I used to always publish an email newsletter for years. I started back in 2007 and it was a very powerful tool. I remember having published it for years, every single week. There was a period where I was hospitalized. I had a gangrenous appendicitis. I know it sounds gross, but and I had many complications with that. I'm lucky to be alive, in fact. And so I spent several weeks in hospital and then many months after that convalescing at my mother's house. And so I wasn't in a fit state to do anything, to be honest. And so my newsletter stopped. And would you believe, I was so surprised to learn that people were actually sending me emails saying, "Is everything okay, Victoria? You've disappeared. We're not getting your emails." And, up until that point, I kind of thought that people weren't really paying much attention. Of course, this was in the early days of my business back in 2007. And people were reaching out and saying, "Are you okay? We've not heard from you. Everything's stopped." And it just really made me realize, if you're ever in that position where you think that people aren't listening or aren't paying attention to what you're doing because you don't get much interaction, just understand that they are watching and they are paying attention, even if they're quiet. And so publishing an email newsletter really demonstrated that for me, that it does help to create that top of the mind awareness. It reminds people that you are in business, that you are around to help them. And so this is an important thing to promote in your Instagram stories. So, there's lots of different ways to do that, and I can talk about that in an upcoming video. If that's something you're interested in, let me know in the comments. But, a simple and easy way to get people on your list is to just create a simple graphic. You can either do it just with the facilities on or that's already built into Instagram stories, or you can use a service such as canva.com and, designs. They have lots of templates in there that you can use for Instagram stories. Just inviting people to join your list, telling them clearly how to do that, and so on and so forth. You can even ask them just to respond to you in the DMs, and then you can add them to your list manually. So that is the first tip, and I love that. And especially now, the way the world is turning at the moment, you cannot rely on the online platforms. These are increasingly being used as a form of control and surveillance. And so we need to be very conscious of that and how we are managing our use of these platforms going forward. My advice to you, and I think this is a very, very, very important point that you need to take to heart and act upon as quickly as possible. The world is changing, and if we put all of our eggs in one basket, as in, putting all of our emphasis on these social media platforms, if they are pulled away suddenly, which they could well be in the coming, months and years, then that's your source of leads disappeared. So you need to be taking leads off of social media and onto your list. Then they are yours to keep. So I've covered a few things there. You're getting me excited with all my information. So yes, generate new leads for your business by getting people onto your list using Instagram stories. The second one is to use the question stickers. You may have seen these. They're little squares, and you can ask a question and then people can respond to that question. Now, I love this feature. I use it all of the time to create engagement, to encourage people to talk to me, because as we know, in terms of attracting clients, conversations equals clients and cash flow and collaborations. It's all the C's. So use the question sticker to communicate with your audience. Ask them, what problems are they experiencing? One of the questions many of you have asked me is, yes, Victoria, but what content should I create? How can I provide value? And the way to provide that value is to ask your people, what is it you need help with? What would you like to learn about next? What are your biggest problems, challenges, sticking points? How can I serve you? Just ask them. Be of service, and that's going to build that relationship with them and provide them with, you're being of service to them, you're providing them value up front and demonstrating your expertise, as we said. So it's going to give you great content ideas, and the people who respond to these questions are the people who are your warmest leads. You can use the swipe up feature when you're on your Instagram stories. If you swipe up, you can see who has viewed your content. The people who have viewed and responded to these stickers are the ones that are your warmest leads that you can then cultivate a relationship with over time. The third tip I want to share with you to help you generate more leads using Instagram stories is to create content, as we've said, provide value, something that is, shareable, something that is of value, that is not spammy, and then tag a larger account. So this isn't just a random account that's big. You want to be picking people who are already reaching the people that you serve, okay? So Iffy, I know you're in this group. Iffy, when we were doing our coaching sessions, you were talking about the Asian guy who teaches, functional medicine stuff and, diet and nutrition. He's a big account. He's got his own books published and things like that. He's well known. He's got a big following, and he attracts the same people that you would want to be working with. So he would be a great person to tag in your Instagram stories. And if the content is of value and on topic for his audience, it's a great way of providing value in his Instagram stories without him having to lift a finger. And so he will share it quickly and simply with a swipe of a button. And then that really ramps up your discoverability. And of course, people are then going to come to your profile. They're going to see, so long as you've got your profile laid out correctly and your grids laid out correctly and you're using your stories correctly, hey presto, you've got new leads. And if you use some of these other strategies that I'm sharing with you today, you can then have them show themselves to you so that you know who these new leads are. They're not just coming to your profile page. They're going to hold their hand up, say, hi, I'm a new warm lead. And there you are. You just cultivate the relationship with them. Okay, great value, hey, that I'm sharing with you here. I'm giving you the specifics of what to do. The fourth tip for today is to utilize your current audience. So, if you are working with specific clients at the moment, or somebody has purchased from you, or they have really enjoyed your content, ask them to share it. Ask them to take a photo of the work they're doing. So, say here's an example of how that would look. If you take one of these tips that I'm sharing with you today and you use it in your business next week, then tag me in your post. And that way I can make sure it's shared, just as we've just talked about a moment ago. Or maybe you're going to take a photo of yourself doing said strategy or, something like that. And then you tag me in your post. And that way, the word is going to get around. It creates a lot of social proof. So if you tag me in your post, I can then share them on my stories saying, here's an example of the tip series we've been using last week. Here's my client using them in full effect, or someone in my Inspired to Greatness community using them in full effect. And of course, that's helping everyone. It's bringing more traffic to you, and it's helping me create social proof that my stuff that I teach is actually being used and is actually working. Okay, so that builds your credibility, builds that sense of trust, and breaks down buying skepticism. All right. Tip number five is to create share-worthy content. So, as we've just said, this is about creating value, helping your clients before you even work with them, helping your audience before you even work with them. So if you don't know what would be share-worthy content, then ask your audience using the strategies we've just talked about. Find out who's following you, find out who's a warm lead, and then reach out to them in the DMs and say, listen, I see you've been following my content. Can I ask a question? What would you like me to teach next? What would you like to learn about? What's your biggest sticking points? And I will create a tip series or something like that in IG stories. Okay? Number 6 is to use hashtags in your IG stories. So you need to be using hashtags that are relevant for your niche. So if you are into health and nutrition, maybe you put in the hashtag gut health and nutrition and wellness, and find some other more specific wellness and health related hashtags that are, that go with your content. So for me, I might put hashtag client attraction, hashtag coaching business, hashtag coaching mentor. I can't think of any others off the top of my hand, but do some brainstorming. and create a collection of hashtags. And then when you create your story, you know, create the story and do it as though you're going to create some text. Cut and paste your several hashtags in to the text section and submit them. And then you make them tiny. You just swipe like this and just make them really small, and then cover them with something written. You know, when you write about what your Instagram story is about, then you just hide those hashtags under other images in your Instagram stories. That way, your content is going to be more easily found, because every time somebody uses a hashtag search, your stories are going to come up. All right, so that's going to bring more eyes to your business. And again, so long as you're using stories and have your profile set up in the correct way, then that's going to generate more leads for your business. And last but not least, I know this is a rather longer video, but I really want to bring some value to you, is that have you ever looked at Instagram stories and they have the swipe up feature? This makes it really easy for people to engage with your content and to direct them to another place where you can generate their new leads. So maybe it is, you know, you want to get people on your list and you've created a free lead magnet or, you know, complimentary training or something. You want people to sign up to get that so that you can get them on your list. The perfect way is to do the swipe up feature, but one of the things you need in order to have that swipe up feature is to have over 10,000 followers, which many of us don't have. And, you know, if you've followed me for a while, this isn't a numbers game. It is about the depth of connection you have with your audience, not how many people. And so to create the swipe up feature, the great news is you can still use it. But very many people don't know this little strategy. So the way to do it is to create an IGTV video. All right, you need to have that done initially. And then if you create an Instagram story, at the top of the screen, there's a little link image. If you click on that link, it will then link through to your IG story and often through to another link section there. And that is the way to use this swipe up feature. You can link it to one of your IG stories, and you know, you can link to something within that. So I hope that is useful, a handy little tip there. And I'm going to come and do another sort of mini training here. I know this is short and sweet, but I just wanted to give you some actual strategies that you can go away and implement next week. I'd love you to come over and follow me on Instagram stories. Come over there each day. Let me know how you're getting on with these strategies. Tag me in your IG stories so that I can share them, and we can actually put what we've shared in practice next week. And come join me here in the Inspired to Greatness group on Telegram next Friday, because I'm going to be sharing with you 10 ways to build your community online. And if you are on my list, you'll receive that there as well in my Friday email newsletter. So ladies, I hope you have a fabulous weekend. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments. And if you have any questions or any ideas about what you would like me to cover in upcoming Friday videos, then let me know again in the comments to this video, and I will happily share as much as I can. So have a great weekend. Looking forward to seeing you over on Instagram, and go get them, girls. Go get them. Yay. Bye for now.